Hello, hello, and welcome to Expat Chronicles. It's been a while. Lizzie and we've been doing some things, some conferences. We've been out here trying to engage people on the new AI that's coming, and we'll get into that in another episode. But actually, I would love to introduce someone that I have known for a while now. Lizzie, you've known Abigail for a little bit. Yeah. And we are so happy to have her on this podcast. We're happy to have her speak her voice and share her knowledge, etc. So with further ado, let's introduce Abigail. Hello, Abigail. Say hi.
Hi everyone. How are you? How are you doing, Kim? Lizzie? So great to see you guys.
It's great to see you. It's great to have you on here and stuff. And we just happy to start back this podcast with you, of course, because you're such a lovely human being, and we're so happy to have you here and to just be with us. So without further ado, welcome to Expat Chronicles.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
Wonderful. All right. Excellent. Okay. So let's just go ahead and dive into it because, we have so many questions. I want to, and of course, this gives me, even though I know about you, this gives me even more insight to learn even more on what you do. So first of all, just to give a bit more dive introduction, Abigail is from Jamaica. She is Jamaican born. And she is one of the many Jamaicans actually here abroad, which is absolutely amazing because honestly, for me personally, and I don't know if this is for you, Lizzie, I didn't know the extent of the Jamaican community here in the UAE until I met Abigail, and she introduced me into that world, and I was just like, wow. Okay, because growing up where I grew up, we did have a Jamaican community because my family background is Belizean, and that Caribbean community was very strong in Chicago. So growing up there, it was the norm, but going abroad, it was something that was not the norm, especially in places like South Korea, the Asian countries, Thailand, etc., and all those things. So to come to the UAE and to meet Abigail and to see how vast the Jamaican community was just amazing and lovely, honestly. It was very lovely. What about you, Lizzie?
So I've met a couple of Jamaican people, go to church with a couple of Jamaican people, some of them speak into our lives. We are very close friends with a Jamaican couple. But I think one of the few things about Jamaicans is, look, I'm African. The first thing I wanted to check is the Jamaican accent real? Or it's just one of those fake things Bob Marley used to use to sing and make him famous. So I think with my first question, if I were to ask a first question, is what would you say makes Jamaicans unique?
That is such a great question, and you guys are so right about Jamaicans being everywhere. I think it's so funny. Jamaica only has a population in the country of 2 million, so there actually are more Jamaicans outside of Jamaica, so they're spread across the diaspora than inside. I think what makes us unique is just the love that we have for our country. Mm-hmm. You always see those memes, how do you do it? I was Jamaican. And it's person decked in, black, green, and gold from head to toe. So for us, it's really a deep pride that we have. Even Jamaicans, you think about first generation, second generations, folks that didn't have a chance to live on the island itself, but their family is Jamaican and they've had that culture background. They just love the culture and they'll say it's their first culture, even if they were born somewhere else. So I think for us, it's really the love of the country and the love of the culture. And there's just so many other things, Lizzie. I could go on and on, but I would say definitely first that pride that we have, definitely in our culture.
We could definitely say the Jamaican pride is very strong. It is. You're right. We know the colors. We know a Jamaican flag when we see one. It's no doubt about that. That's pretty clear without a doubt.
Right.
And stuff like that. And I thought that was actually funny because I never thought, like I said, I grew up around a lot of Caribbean people, and Jamaicans, of course, was a part of that. And I never thought about the accent, people actually thinking, oh, this is made up. When Lizzie said that to me, I was like, what?
Seriously, because everybody thought Bob Marley's accent was made up so he could become famous and sing. That's his
never heard
artistry
that.
accent. Because he's the most
Yeah,
famous
and I
Jamaican.
think people always get a bit confused when they see, like, say, a white Jamaican or a Chinese Jamaican,
Yeah.
or, like, Italian Jamaican. They just never really know where to place them because, you think about the Caribbean, you think about, folks descendants of Africa, and you just think black, dark skin,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
But we are literally a melting pot, like our motto is, out of many, one people. So there's so many different people that make up the Jamaican culture, and that, we definitely claim. But when those people then go out into the world, I know sometimes their Jamaicanness is questioned. They may have the strong accent, but people are just like, are you really Jamaican, or are you taking on something? So like Bob Marley, he has a white mother and a black dad.
Right.
So I know he got that a lot too growing up.
Yeah.
All right. So my question is for you then, because you mentioned how, like of course you love your land. I know you just came back from Jamaica. I'm jealous. All right.
did.
Next time, take me with you. Take me with you next time.
Summer.
Yes, next summer. Actually, I think, we're planning actually, just as a side note, we're actually planning Greece because it's Lizzie's 40th birthday. And so,
Lovely.
yeah. So that would be very exciting, but that doesn't mean I can't, try to squeeze in 2 trips in one. But my question for you is what motivated you to leave Jamaica and move to the UAE?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I've left Jamaica maybe more than 10 years ago, because my first time leaving when I was 18. So I left after high school and moved to the U.S. for college. So I did my undergrad there, then I did my master's degree, and I was working for about 4 years. So I didn't leave directly from Jamaica to the UAE. I was in the U.S. a bit. And for me, I always knew the U.S. would never be my forever home. I know I was going to go there, get my education, get some job experience, and then see life beyond what the U.S. had to offer.
Right.
So when I started to look into different places across the world, I work in higher education, so I work in college administration. I had to look for places that, universities were strong, the opportunities were strong for professional development, or even as an opportunity to learn from like a different culture and a different place. So that's how I landed on the UAE. When I was doing my research, I had met people online who had also made that switch to the UAE, working in education. And then I started to do my deep research, right? So I went on the Facebook groups. I started to learn about other people's experiences. I started to talking to other Jamaicans like who lived here. So I didn't kind of come into it blind. I mean, I never visited the country before and had like very limited knowledge.
Right.
But obviously, as you know, living in the UAE, you can't go based on what's on Google. You have to talk to people to get that real and true experience. So yeah, that's kind of what. It's like I knew the US wasn't going to be forever, and I wanted a new experience. And something that was different. And I think the good thing is that I was encouraged, encouraged by my parents, encouraged by my family,
That's a big
encouraged
part.
by my friends. I think the first time I phoned my friends, they were like, wait, what? Where are you going?
Right.
Because none of them have also been to this side of the world or, to the UAE. So for them, it was all new. But just knowing me and the type of person I am, like go-getter and, explorer, traveler, they weren't kind of surprised that I landed here.
And that's actually how Abigail and I met on when she was doing her deep dive. She asked, I think you had just gotten the position in at AUS in Sharjah. And so she was like, does anybody live in Sharjah? And, I vet people before I answer. Look at the photo and, all right, okay, she seems okay, all right. And then, and I'm like, yes, because a lot of people don't realize in the UAE, of course, when people think of the UAE, they think of just Dubai. Right? That's the first thing that comes to mind is that Dubai is the UAE, and of course, the UAE is more than Dubai. We have 7 Emirates? Then
Yes,
7, 7 states in the UAE, and and people are everywhere. And for us, Sharjah unfortunately gets such a bad rap. And I'm just like, when she said Sharjah, I was like, let me dive into this real quick before, someone comes and says, why are you in Sharjah? Sharjah is horrible, and stuff like that. And so that's actually how Abigail and I, met. We met, through that interaction and stuff. And I love that about her because not a lot of people are open to putting themselves out there in those social media sites and stuff and saying, hey, I'm coming and responding. It's not even just me responding, it's them actually responding back. Because that's always that, and then actually meeting each other and saying, you know, and saying, hey, how are you? Because there's plenty of time I've met someone online and gave them advice and say, hey, let's go for coffee, and then coffee never happens. So that was
and I think for me, right, too, Kim, I'm so grateful because I came during COVID, right?
Right.
So there was also no real opportunities for any kind of, you know, social experience.
Yeah, you're
Everybody
right.
was inside, or it was during a period where a lot of people had left. So like when I came on Facebook and I met you, and you were obviously my, you know, my first Sharjah friend. And then that first, I think it was the second weekend that I was here, you know, you offered and you took me out, we went jet skiing. Like that just meant so much to me because I'm like, listen, it's COVID, everybody's inside. I'm not even meeting people from work.
Right.
There's people I didn't meet that I worked with, I only saw them online. I met them like a year after because of all the COVID restrictions and people living at home. So for me, that first month was really, really important. So like having someone like you, like we never met before, but we met online and then in person, and then just realizing that we had so much in common, like, you know, the Caribbean background was really helpful. So for me, it's like always about, you know, making my home wherever I am, and not shying away from experiences and meeting people, because that's a part of the experience too, right? And I said different things for different people, but I know for me, maybe that's a part of the Jamaican-ness. Like I went enough at myself and just find people everywhere, you know?
But I love that about you. You know, because not a lot of people are like that. And that's something like, you know, that we look for in people when they're traveling abroad. Because that's one thing we want, like for me personally, I want everyone I come in contact, whether at home and stuff, to experience going abroad, living, you know, and not everybody has that opportunity. I'm well aware of that, you know. But I see just how just in a box some people are when they don't leave and explore the world outside of the U.S., outside of their little hometown even. Because I even have friends who barely made it outside of their little hometown. And I'm just like, you know, there's more out there. And, you know, for me personally, I was also called, like how your family viewed you as that go-getter, that person who was, you know, and for me it was the same. It was like, oh, you're that, you know, and I'm just looking like, am I? But though, am I really though? Like, I don't think I am. Like, I'm just, you know, like, because even my first trip abroad was to a country, I'm gonna be honest, I didn't even know it was on the map. Where it was on the map. I was just like, you know, like, I didn't know the language. I didn't know where it's on the map. I was just, you know, it was one of those. But like I had the support of my parents. And I think that was that was vital. It does. It makes a huge difference, you know, like they hate to see you go, but they want to see you go. You know, they want to see you grow and do things that they could probably never have done or thought of doing themselves, because and that's Lizzie, you have kids. That's what you know.
That's what you wish for your kids. And I think, especially with moving, culturally, you come from a culturally rich background.
Very
like
rich.
Caribbean, it's culturally rich, right? And then you move to the States, and then you move to the UAE. There's obviously going to be some differences, cultural differences. I know I faced culture shock when I moved to the Middle East for the first time. I moved to Qatar, Doha, and it was a cold shower, a real cold shower. So any challenges, any, I don't know, stories you faced with just culture-wise? How was that for you?
Yeah, that's a great question too. And I think I didn't feel as I said, the shock didn't really hit me, I think, at first, because I eased into it. As I mentioned, I came March 2020, COVID, a lot of people were inside, right? So even for work, I was meeting people slowly. So, you know, it wasn't like I came and, you know, where I am, the university, we have over like 90 nationalities. So I didn't meet all those 90 all at once. You know, it was like a slow thing. And I think, you know, people were just so warm. They were so welcome. They know I came here by myself. You know, no husband, no kids, no family. So they readily kind of like took me in, which was so nice. Like I think about the Emirati women that I just worked with when I came. They were just saying, you know, do you need anything we can help you with? I have, you know, an Algerian coworker and a Syrian coworker. They were like, you know, let us know what you need, anything, you know, we have you. Took me out to lunch, showed me places around town. So that was really, really helpful, especially those first month. I mean, the first 2 months, I think something that was definitely a shock, which is less about the culture, more about COVID, but I got COVID twice. And the first time I had to be quarantined. I had a bracelet on my
that's
head
right.
to go
I
in,
remember that.
get that tracking bracelet, and I was
Yes.
mortified. I'm like, I'm in a foreign country. I have no family here. I just have to rely on friends. What do I do? But I think that was helpful, right? Because I fell in love with Taliban, the good Taliban,
Yes.
right? And ordering
Yeah.
distance and staying inside. But I think for me, that was something that I was just like, okay, thinking about healthcare and how serious they take things, right? And like I had COVID when I was in the US too, and it was never this like high level security or just like high, I guess like need to track, the folks in the US. But coming here, that was something that was shocking. I remember getting off the plane, and when I got picked up from the airport and driving to where I am, just seeing how many fast food restaurants that are here. I don't know. I just assumed the Middle East was more like greens and I don't know, healthy food, and then like seeing all that junk. I was like, oh wow, they eat like all this junk food, and all this is from the US, right?
Yeah,
so as I said, some of this like some of the day-to-day research I just didn't do. I was like, I'm gonna have God guide me and just figure out this experience as I go. So, every now and then there'll be something that will be interesting, but for me, I was able to like easily integrate and easily, meet locals. And granted, our experience for the most part was limited to the workplace. It was still, a pleasant experience as I supervised most of them, which was cool.
Yeah. And I think, and I think that with your experience with locals, because I feel like, we've all had experiences with locals, right? But what I love about your job especially is that a part of it is that integration into understanding the Emirati cultures. I know I've seen on your Instagram, etc., the trips that you guys would take and learning about, the different, why they burn oud, and things like that. And that's another thing why, with Sharjah, I always like to say, a lot of people don't know that Sharjah is the cultural emirate of the UAE. They really pride themselves on sharing what Emirati culture is about. And some people forget about that. Yes, you can go to Dubai, you can party, you can do all of these things in Abu Dhabi as well, and, and stuff like that. And not saying that you can't have a good time in Sharjah, but Sharjah is that moment to really experience the culture of the UAE. And I'm so happy that you were able to come into a university and come into a school that was able to share that. And Emirati women especially are very, I don't know, I haven't had an experience where I didn't find them very friendly and welcoming and opening and stuff like that. And so that's another thing that's, like you said, it's a big deal when you go into a culture and a country and how the people treat you. It's a huge deal. And so, regardless of your nationality, because I can go back to the U.S. right now, and that's supposed to be my, a country I was born and raised in, and still not be treated as I'm being treated here, Yeah. And it does affect you. That's probably why I'm about to hit 8 years here. Lizzie, you about to hit how many? 9 years, right? Abigail, you're going on your what? Your
like two and a half.
Two and a half. That's it. It feels so much longer. Oh my God, goodness.
I know.
That's it. All right. Wow. I hope you stay with us longer.
You bring up a good point. I think about like Emirati culture, and I wish more folks come here and especially do like the desert safaris. And I fell into that too when I just came. Right, you do the desert safari. You do, you get the food. You go on the doom bashing, you go on the camel, and then you go into like the belly dancing and fire thing.
It's a lovely
like
experience.
That's not even Emirati, right? I wish there was more spaces, especially I think with Dubai, that they would capitalize more or market more the Emirati culture, because I think there is so much to learn and it's so interesting, and it goes way beyond what you can read on Google or see like on a YouTube video. So I think definitely being at a university, we have really strong cultural clubs here for our students. And they're able to, when it's like UAE National Day or, when it's Ramadan or just like throughout the semester, there's so many opportunities for us to just learn, for students to learn, for students who are new to the region, for students who are even not new to the region, but new to Emirati culture. We're just able to learn.
I love that your school does that. I absolutely love that you're, like this year for us personally, some of our students were able to do something similar to
Yeah.
that, and just to
Yeah.
see just how it was a learning experience for them. Not only were they learning about, Palestinian culture, they were learning about Indian culture. They had to deep dive and learn about France. They had to, all of these different cultures. And of course, it couldn't be as many as we would have liked, but it was great to see them really take the effort to actually do the research and learn about this. And I mean, I'm sure your school is just as probably extravagant as ours, is where they dress up. They'll spend the money to dress up and look like them and really be that, even some of them learn the language.
Yeah,
they
that's
cook
true.
they cook the food, and
the
oh yeah, the food is always good. But I'm always here for the food. But yes, it's something that it's appreciative, and I think that comes from a lot of because every year they have what they the celebration, and they have a title, and I think that came from the Year of Tolerance. I think it was, where they were welcoming all cultures, building, to where they've even built the Hindu temple and welcome those from Israel and stuff like that. So that was showing that we understand that there are different cultures here, and we want to welcome them all. So that was something that was great. I have a question for you, Abigail. I want to ask, have you found any similarities between the Jamaican culture and the Emirati culture? Would you say, is there anything that you would say is similar?
I think how prideful people are in their culture. Like Emiratis are definitely very prideful, of their culture, and they enjoy sharing it with others, I would say. Their love for food, I would say Emiratis definitely
Love
they love their food. They dabble in other cultures too, but Emirati food they definitely enjoy. Like I remember when I came, and just like tea culture or coffee culture or karak, and having sweets in the office, like that's definitely Jamaican thing. You go to a Jamaican house, like you're getting some kind of cake or some kind of sweets or something to take home. And I think obviously then like the love for family, right? For Jamaican family is at the forefront at all times. I would say for Emiratis too, like family for them, family definitely comes first. So yeah, I would say those are some of the similarities I've seen so far.
Okay.
I think it's very important to note that when expatriates meet, especially when you come from different, like Jamaica is like the opposite end of the world for me, and the Middle East is like the middle of nowhere for me. And when you come and you actually look at it, at the differences, the assumed differences in culture, and then you find the similarities, it's always comforting, because it reminds you your people. And there's always going to be these foundations, these foundational blocks that are similar. The love for food, the love for sharing, the pride in who you are and where you come from, and sharing who you are and where you come from. I think this is something that is highlighted, especially when you're here in a very big expat community. You tend to see that a lot, to see how people pride themselves in where they come from, and they want you to understand about their culture and share it with you. And it's a great commendable thing, eh?
Well, I mean, even for me, because even just like there was a lot, me understanding through Abigail, there's a large Jamaican community here in the UAE. I was just as surprised to see the large Zimbabwean community here with, having known Lizzie, and was like, wow, there's a lot of Zimbabweans here. And then, me having to go to the map, where exactly? I know it's Zimbabwe. Okay, all right, and it's not Zimbabwe is not a huge country.
Very small.
And so just, it's landlocked, isn't it?
Yeah, it's landlocked.
It's a landlocked country. And so for me to just, having met you and then see, okay, he's Zimbabwean,
Zimbabwean.
I'm just like, wow, okay, all right. Okay, we see how this is going and stuff like that. And I guess I could say the same for Black Americans too. There is a large Black
There is a
American
very large
community here
community.
as well. But just to see just the, just these smaller countries, just to see and see how many people have come here unafraid, have thrived, okay?
Yes.
And that's the most thriving here and learning and it's I mean I love it, just as Black people in general, but I love to see that growth and that community, because I always say that's something that I feel that in certain retrospect, especially with the Black Americans, that sometimes we miss that community. We miss how to be with each other. And so, and to see that with, the Jamaican community, with the Zimbabwean community, sometimes I get a little jealous. I'm not gonna lie. I get jealous because I'm like, it's so easy for them to call, you call and it's family. It's not even like it's just a friend. This is, you meet them and next thing you know it, that's family. And, and I got just a small taste of that during the expo when it was, when they had the Belizean pavilion. And then, was able to go in there and meet, never met her, but my uncle knew her and my dad and was like, hey, this is family, like, hey, and stuff like that. So it is something, that I find to be remarkable. And I just love to see it always. And talking about thriving though, because you're thriving and something that I want to share, I want us to get this in before our time is up, with Bere Vibes. And tell us a little about Bere Vibes. Tell us what that is exactly.
Yes. Thanks, Kim. So Bere Vibes is a Jamaican card game. So it's a party style card game meant to just bring family, friends, those who love Jamaican culture together. So it's a mix of everything. We have 5 different categories. The first category is Hum It. So there's a Jamaican song you have to hum. Everybody has to guess what it is. There's dances. There's always Jamaican dances that are every different week. There's another dance. So somebody has to do a dance. You have to guess what the dance is. There's also a Proverbs category. So it's like things that Jamaicans are, passed through generations. So there's Proverbs. You have to fill in the blank. There's that more like a taboo style part of it. So, you have the word and then 5 different things below you can't say, and then everything is related to Jamaica. And the last one being guess this. So something like a Jamaican, something that's like an action that Jamaicans normally do or is associated with a particular thing that you have to act out and people have to guess. And for me, creating a Jamaican card game came to me when I was in college, actually. I started to play all these other games from all these different cultures, well, mainly American culture. And I'm like, oh, we also have things that are fun and exciting.
Right.
Why can't we do something that we enjoy? So I just wanted to be able to provide this for the diaspora. So currently still in Jamaica, in the US, in UK, in Canada, also in the UAE, because, we have Jamaicans here too.
Yes.
And I think for me, just been excited to see how people can come together, how people can learn. There'll be Jamaicans who played like, oh, I didn't know this, or, I forgot this dance, or like, I didn't know this song. So for me, it's just been great to see that, because that's definitely the impact that I wanted to have.
I need to come play with you because I want to see the challenge. I was like, growing around Jamaicans, I was like, can I, this is a challenge for me. What exactly do I know that or don't know that I think I know? All right. Cause I'm like, I need to be on top of this game as well, because
game night.
I'm down for that. Yeah, let's totally do that, because, there's, with that game, I just look at all, the excitement that I see on Instagram with it, the people having a great time, that, and like you said, it's, it's doing what games do, bring people together, have a good time, have a good laugh. And, and I love the fact that you were able to come together and bring something like that to Jamaica, because, you don't realize that things like that are missing, especially for your, for your community, for your country. Like you forget we're used to the, you come together, barbecue, you eat, you chat, you talk, all that stuff. But sometimes a good game really brings that laughter and that fun and all of those things together. And I love when people leave saying, that was a great time. I had a wonderful time. I love that feeling when people say, we'll be back. We'll come, we'll come back. Next event you have, we'll be back. All right.
Right.
So,
And I think for me, right, especially with creating a game, was just to show Jamaicans that it can be done,
right.
that our culture can be made into like a fun way, which we know, right? And being able to inspire others to also do that. Because as I say, it does mean something. Like when you go into a store in Jamaica and there's all these other games
Right.
from the U.S.
Right.
and it's nothing to do with us, right?
Right.
And it's like, why can't we, also be on the shelves? Why can't we also be game creators? Because we can. So, anytime anyone approaches me and asks me about it, I'm really open and honest, because I didn't see anyone else doing it before me. So I had to go into these Facebook groups. I had to meet people. I had to ask them, vendors and marketing and trademarking and all the Shopify, all these things, right? Because I've never seen it done before. Right.
I love that you did that. I love that you went in and you said, and it's easy to give up on things like that, because it is a lot between the trademarking and stuff like that. It's not easy. And so I love that you didn't give up on that, and you went in and you said, okay, we can do this. This is for us, and we can share this, and people will have a good time. So I love that you definitely went ahead and did that and stuff. So yes, thank you so much for that. And like I said, we do need to make that game night. We can plan that. I think that's
I have a copy right in front of me here.
Yes, you have. Yes, I need to get a copy from you. Actually, we need to have coffee anyway, so need to catch up with you properly and stuff like that. And so I know we've all been busy and stuff. We're finally taking a breath here, but we're not done with Expat Chronicles, of course, because we definitely will be back, and we would definitely love to have you back on, Abigail. This was a wonderful conversation. It was great hearing, and I feel like there's probably even more that we can talk about, more that we can grow in, because as you're reaching your 2.5 years, in the next next year or even half a year, who knows what's going to be available to us, what's going to happen, what's the growth that we have all seen in each other and stuff, especially you, Abigail. I'm so happy you stayed. You didn't get ran out of here. Yeah. Especially coming during COVID, having an ankle bracelet on you. That would have ran anybody out of here. You put
what is this?
Right.
I'm out.
So I'm happy you stayed. You stuck with us even in the heat, because right now we are dealing with heat, people.
Oh yeah.
It is hot. All right, out there in these streets and stuff. So, just, knowing that you're here with us, that you're sharing your voice with us. Thank you so much, Abigail. We appreciate it so much. And Lizzie, you have anything?
It's such a pleasure, Abigail. Thank you so much. Hey.
Thank you. And thank you guys for this and for this platform. Definitely really important to get our voices out there. So continue with the work. Anytime you want me to come back, I'll come back.
You'll be coming back. You'll be coming back, and you'll be coming back with video. All right, just let you know.
Okay,
all right, yes, definitely.
Yeah.
All right, so thank you so much, Abigail. We'll talk to you soon. Have a lovely day, a lovely weekend. Hopefully, we'll see you. We'll see you for a hike tomorrow. We were just talking about that.
Sounds like
I think a nice hike would be great.
Yeah.
All right, so I'll talk to you later. Bye.
All right.
Bye.
See you. Bye.
Bye-bye. Hey, if you are loving Expat Chronicles, please remember to hit subscribe. We just want to say thank you to all our subscribers so far, and we would love to hear from you. So if there is anything you would love for us to discuss, please let us know. Peace and love.